Good evening. Welcome to Sim Racing Nord at Suzuka. It's a 60-minute race and I believe there is a pit stop. There's currently 14 drivers on track, so a few more than there were on Monday. Should be quite an interesting race, having observed what went on Monday. And because there's more cars, hopefully there should be more to follow, more passes and more action. And if there is a pit stop, that'll get thrown into the mix as well. If you are watching and you like what you see, please click the like button. If you want to make a comment, please subscribe. And if you want to do a chat in the chat, I'll read out and converse with you. So I'm going to switch to the game, enjoy the ride and support your favourite driver. Alright, so we're currently on board with Azar as he's off. And he's just doing a practice, so there's 1 minute left in practice. And then once practice is done, we'll go into quali. I think there's a very short quali, and then we'll go on to the race. And as I said, it's a 60-minute race. Overlays are working, so there's a lot of information on the screen. If you do want the overlays changing or moving around, I will go with your feedback and do what's appropriate. I think where they are and the amount of information on them is probably going to be adequate. As I said, there are 14 drivers on track. I've only got the overlay showing 12. I could show another couple to cover the whole grid, so just give me a second to do that. And what I will do is I will try and get another couple of cars on, just so we can see exactly who's on track and so on and so forth. There you go. 14, we should see another 2 pop up. So that's the full grid as it stands. Have a couple more people turn up. I will increase that, and obviously it'll take it down to the screen, but I don't want to jump into the real estate really and spoil the viewing entertainment. If you think I don't need the fastest lap on there, again, that feedback will be muchly appreciated. And then, you know, I'll try and get it to display what you want to see as opposed to what I've currently set it up. There are also a few little other overlays that may appear as well. This is down to my own software I'm using to control the cameras. And what it'll do is it'll tell you when there's the fastest lap, who's got the fastest lap, very much like they do in Formula 1. Obviously once someone's run the race, it'll show you who's run the race. There's another example of another one coming up there. That really shouldn't be coming on, so I don't know why that is. So what I'll do is I'll remove that. That's because the session's over actually. That should only do that during the race. As you can see, there's bugs in the software, it's fair to say. Which I will fix and I will resolve that. Alright, so there is a podium as well. Also, when the race lead changes during the race, we will see an indicator to say that the race lead has changed. The reason for that is, obviously, if I'm not concentrating on that part of the race, I should be really, it will still tell us that the race lead has changed. So from that perspective, you'll be notified who the new race leader is if you're not really paying too much attention. And also, if a driver pits, it'll tell us who's pitting when. And in the standings, you will notice there is a pit indicator with a pit time as well. So that'll give us an indicator on how long people are in the pits for, whether they're doing tyres, whether they're doing just fuel, or so on and so forth. So that sounds to me like we've gone to quali. So because of an issue with Race Labs, which is the streaming information I'm using, I have to connect to the server and run it. I can't do it as a spectator. The downside to that is it means I've got to join the grid. I will just sit in the pits and I'll watch other people go out, obviously. But from my perspective, when the race starts, I will have to transfer to the pits, and then I can do the controlling of the cameras. Until they fix the issue in Race Labs, that's the way it is. And it shouldn't be an issue in Race Labs because my own software does something similar. It just doesn't have the glorious graphics that Race Labs has. Mine are a bit more designed for managing the cameras and so on and so forth. So we are on board here with Thomas, and Thomas is doing his out lap. You can see he's warming up his tyres. I do think pole will probably go to Marcel. Marcel's, I've watched him in quite a few races and also raced with him when I was in the Sim Racing Nord camp, if you like, because I have raced with these guys, and he's unbelievably quick. So I think from that perspective he's going to really dominate the race in relation to that. Well, who's going to be next? I really don't know. I know Marco. I also know Michael. Martin Bailey I race with. Helmut I race with. Helmut's very fast. But I also noticed from the Monday that Ford Mustang Benjamin's in is rapid. And he was catching cars up for front on Monday in the 15-minute sprint. With this being an hour race, there's a good possibility he's going to put pressure on some of the guys towards the front of the grid and end up with a podium. Now we'll see. We'll see where it takes us during the race. We'll sit on board with Thomas here and we'll do an outlap with him. So I believe Thomas is relatively new to all this, so he's possibly not as tried and tested as the likes of Marco. But it's all about learning the game and being part of the club. So what we'll do is, as he does a lap, I'll just give you an explanation of where we are on track. So it is Suzuka. It's over 3 kilometres long, and it's got quite a good technical bit actually. The start of the lap is quite a good technical bit, and then it eases off a little bit, and then you get another technical bit. So it is quite difficult. So he's coming down now the straight, start-finish straight. At the end of here we've got a right-hander. He'll brake sharply, get the car to drift in, and this takes us into an aptly named first corner. And then the next bit can be referred to as the S's, but it's also known as the snake, for the reasons you will obviously understand. Goes to the left, goes to the right, wiggles like a snake. And then the next right-hander is known as the anti-banked curve. And then that'll take us into the Dunlop curve, which is this left-hander going up. You'll get your foot down halfway up here, flat out, and then that'll take us into the double right-hander, known as the Degners, Degner 1 and Degner 2. We'll cut the corner here, get the car set up for the second Degner, and cut the corner slightly to get the power on early down here. This will then lead us into the hairpin, where you've really got to get the car slowed down and probably into first gear. Into the second gear there, get the power on, and then this takes us into 200R, which is this right-hander here. This will lead us out into a fast exit onto Spoon Curve, where it's all about getting your braking point right and getting the car to maximise the speed with the apex in, edge, and then the apex out, and then get the power on again onto what's known as the back stretch. Flat out to the end, and then that'll take us into 130R, the fantastically quick left-hander. You can get away sometimes with just easing off a little bit in relation to the power. But other than that, it's quite a good piece of track, and this will take him into Casio Triangle onto last curve and back onto the straight. And the software's just decided to have a bit of a penny on me, so I'm just making sure that that's working. It should be okay, because it missed out. It's a bit of a problem here. It's not playing ball with me. So bear with me a second while I try to work out what's causing it. It's the beauty of trying to play with software. I will get it up and running, I assure you. We'll do it before the race, at least I'll know then what's causing it, and I can fix it. This is what I get for adding new functionality in during the day. There we go. Right, just give me a second while I do this. And then what I'll do is I'll fix this up a little bit. Just trying to work out what I'm doing here. Just sit on board with Thomas at the moment until the race, just while I work out what's going on here. A simple solution is to sure it works, and then should be back in business. If that's the case, that'll go as by for the short term. Yeah, that's looking better. What I'll do is I'll use that and then on board with Benjamin. There we go. I'm on the outside view. Now there'll be people out there saying, you should have tested this. And I understand that. The problem is you've got to test it on a live race, which is very difficult to do when you're only one person. Anyway, I think I've got it sorted now, so I'll be back in business. Brilliant. I think we'll be back in business now. So we're on board with Benjamin, aren't we? We'll make sure that everything does look okay. We'd still have most of the items coming up in relation to the overlays. At the moment, the fastest lap is Marcel. We did say Marcel was going to be fast. And all bar myself, I've been round and done a lap. Oh, there are a couple of invalid laps. So Benjamin's best lap at the moment is a 2 minutes flat 8:87. Coming up now to the fast left-hander of 130R. Going to the Casio Triangle. Get the brake in. It's got great brakes as the Mustang. And then this will take him onto the last curve onto the straight. And we'll see what sort of lap time he does. Don't think he'll get the fastest lap, because that fastest lap is quite phenomenal. But he did go faster, and that has put Benjamin in second place. As you can see, he's bailed it. Who else is on track at the moment? Michael is around somewhere. Michael, you're only third. Let's jump on board with some of the guys towards the back. Matthias. Matthias is in the McLaren. Again, he's coming onto the back stretch. Coming through 130R, same place as before. Quite good to catch them at these points within the game. His fastest lap was a 2:03 flat. Gonna better that? No, he's not. He must have made a mistake early on his lap, because that lap was a 2:08. Okay, let's go on board with Marco. Marco's just come out the snake. And he's just come round Dunlop, and he's now coming to the Degners. Oh no, he's bailed. Jorg. Let's see where Jorg is. Flying round in the McLaren. A spoon curve. So he's going to make it onto the back stretch as well. Nice livery there. Maintaining a lot of speed there, running on the edge. That should see him through. His best lap is a 2:01.567. Let's see where this takes him. 9 minutes to go in qualifying. Marco's gone out again. We can just see him there. And that was 2:02. So that wasn't any faster. Let's get on board with Helmut. Helmut's coming through the Degners, and he's now coming up to the hairpin. Sorry, nice red, straightforward Ferrari colour there. Coming up to Spoon Curve. A yellow flag. There's obviously a car on track somewhere. It says accident ahead, it doesn't guarantee it, just means there's a car's off track and there's potential someone's come together, shall we say. Let's see what speed helmet's best is. A 2017. So let's see, his last lap was a 2023, so he needs to take 6/10 off that to better his time. Very deep, that's an abandoned lap. One with Nils. Nils has called it a day as well. He's parked up. At Roland in the green and grey McLaren. Again, he's coming to the final stretch. And his best lap is a 2:00.805. Is he going to better it? He did not. Oh. No, he has done as 2:00.582, but it was an invalid lap. So that one will not count, unfortunately. Marco's now coming around and doing his lap. He just did an out lap, as we know. So we'll see where Marco ends up. I think that was his out lap. Yeah, 2:16.2. Stay on board with Marco. Gets the power down going through the snake. A bit tentative through there then. Let's foot down in the right place there though. Car will drift ever so slightly, so he's took the right angle in. We will cut the corner on the Degners here. His foot planted. Again, cut here. Get the car rotated as much as possible to go down here. You can get track limits there. It's quite a difficult one to get right because you want to push, but equally the car also wants to push you left. That within track limits. You can see the car drifting left and he's taking the apex out and the apex in, and he's now going flat again down here on the back stretch. His best lap is a 2:00.664, although according to this it's 2:00.777. I'm seeing a different value. He needs to beat 2:00.777 ultimately. Down to the final part of it. We've got 5 minutes to go, and he's managed to do a 2:00.825. So he's not going to claim anything further at the moment. Let's go on board with this is Azar Azizov. His best is a 2:00.17. Looking at the splits of the times, I think it's going to be quite a good race this, because we're going to have battles quite going on quite through the field, with the exception of Marcel disappearing into the distance. Nice and spitting. As I've said enough, he's decided to go into the pits. See him just rolling in there. Has he bettered himself here, Azar? He did a 2:00.26. Didn't improve. Who else can we jump on board with? No, Matthias has just gone into the pits. Let's go on board with Marius. Marius is another Ferrari driver. Now there may well be a skin for Marius, but I've downloaded all the skins available, Normally without a skin you just show a black car. He may have a genuine black car. But I have got all the skins that have been made available to me. You should see them all in the race. So he's coming down, he's got to beat a 2:18.392 with a valid lap. I can't tell you if it's a valid, but that was a 2:04.3, so that was a valid lap, and that is his fastest lap. He decides he wants to do a bit of drifting, which is fine. Always nice to do a bit of drifting. Marco has gone faster. He's just overtaken Roland. So go back on board with Thomas. Comes. Thomas has got down to a 2:01.089. That's a very respectable time. Someone had told me they were still new to this, so can obviously play these games really, really well. Although I'm not supposed to say game, sim, because it is a sim. Game is like Gran Turismo. The other one by Microsoft. I can't even remember the name of it. Forza, is it? I've never played Forza, so I don't really want to comment on Forza. I think he went off track there, so I think this is going to be an invalid lap. So let's switch to someone else while we've got 2 minutes to go. Nils was parked up in the that Lamborghini. He's called it a day there as well. Jörg's going round still, as is Martin. Martin's best lap is a 2:01.7. See where Martin finishes as he comes around the final part. Not that well. Comes into last curve. Looks like the car behind went off track. Got to beat a 2:01.7. Is he going to better his time? No, he didn't. Sorry, he did 2:01.526. He did go faster. My apologies. Although that's showing a different time to what I'm seeing. Oh, sorry, no, it was 2:01.907. My apologies. That was correct, 2:01.907. I think it's remembered the laps from the previous session, actually, hence why I'm getting a little bit confused from the practice session. Coming to the end now, quali. Got Marcel's pulling over. Said he's going to be the guy to beat with a 1:59.4. Is the best lap. Or 1:59.6 it says there, doesn't it? So we'll go with that. And then Benjamin with a 2 minutes 1:15. 2:03.70. That's because I started the session afterwards. That's why I'm seeing different times. That's why it's confusing me a little bit. When we get to the race, I'll go straight to the pits. I won't be taking part, so you won't see me running around anywhere and racing anybody, which probably makes perfect sense. Most drivers have now gone to the pit lane. We've just got 1 or 2 drivers out as they all settle down, ready for the race. So I believe it's an hour, and I think there's a mandatory stop in there, and I think it's just for fuel. I'm not 100% certain. This track does chew the tyres up, so it depends how much of a risk you want to take with keeping your tyres or replenishing your tyres as well. You can see we've got the countdown now. If you haven't got your lap in now and started your lap, you won't be valid. It just will not acknowledge it at this point. As you can see, it says the session is over. We've got the checkered flag. Move that Suzuka icon a little bit. Just to the right. Got the maximum wait time on there. There. Is Marco going to better his time than a 2:00.37? Is he going to better that? 2:00.260. He did indeed. So on pole we have Marcel. In second we have Benjamin. In third we have Marco. And that will make up the top 3. The top 2 places on the grid, the top 2 rows will be finished off with Michael. So that's Marcel, Benjamin, Marco and Michael. Just wait for it to tip over now. There is a couple of drivers still out on track. Helmet's still out. As is Azar. I don't know how to pronounce that. My apologies. They're very close to each other. They're both coming around to the end of the lap now. You can see it. I think Azar's just actually finished this bit as well. Hit the curb a little bit there, Helmet, so this might upset his lap a little bit. His best is a 201.362. Is he going to beat it? No, he did a 5.87. Okay, so I'm going to wait a little bit now and wait for the grid to form. Back in a second. Actually, no, I'm back already. I was going to put it into pause mode then. Yeah, mandatory pit stop. As you can quite clearly see there, it is for fuel. I'm just going to take a second, back shortly for the start of the race. And then, as I said, I need to go to the pits because I'm not racing. You're right. Okay, we've got 2 minutes to go. And then the fun starts. I think the podium could very well end up being the drivers in the top 3 as they stand now. Unless, of course, someone makes a mistake. And then anything can happen. Pit stop might come into it with a bit of a strategy. I don't know whether they've got refueling set to a fixed time, so everyone's is treated the same, or whether they've got the more you put in, the longer your pit stop, because that encourages you more to do a splash and a dash, as opposed to fill half, top up half. Because if you can keep up with them with a full tank of fuel, by the time you pit, you might only gain 2 seconds, but 2 seconds can be quite a lot if you're a fast driver. We're down to 1 minute. So I will teleport to the pits because there's just no point in me taking part. I can race. I do have all the equipment to have a nice big rig, force feedback wheel and hydraulic pedals, but sometimes it's nice to chill out rather than race every single day, because it does take it out of you a little bit in your wrists with the force feedback and stuff like that. Did an hour at the Nordschleife yesterday in the Mustang, and your arms are falling off at the end of it, so I thought I'd give myself a break. And I do some commentary for these guys on the Monday and on Wednesday. This is the first Wednesday one I've done, the first full race. I did the sprint on Monday. Again, that's to make sure my stream's up and running. So I won't be able to do anything here until it takes me to the pits. So what I'll do is I will go put the focus on Marcel on the helicam. It'll probably push back to me in a minute, but then once I'm in the pits, it should let me focus on another driver. That's the plan. So in 10 seconds it should kick me out, which is exactly what I want, and then I should be able to click drive, and then we can go. As I say, this is because I can't use race labs through spectating. I've actually got to be on the server, and it's not letting me down. Put me in the pits. I can now go Marcel and then go to helicam and watch the drivers go off into T1. So we're doing a full lap. So what they're doing here is they're going to go out and they're going to do a full parade lap around Suzuka. Can work against you sometimes with your tyres, this. We'll have a rundown of the field. Got Marcel at the front in the McLaren. We've got Benjamin in second place in the Mustang. In third place, we've got Marco in the Ferrari. In fourth place, we've got Michael, who's also in the Ferrari, the one with the AMD logo on the side. In fifth place, we've got Roland in the McLaren. Sixth place, we've got Thomas in the Ferrari with that nice blue and green livery. Looks really smart, that, to be honest. In seventh place, we've got Helmut, who's also in a Ferrari. In eighth place, we've got the first Nils Julian in the McLaren. In ninth place, we've got Jörg, who's also in a McLaren. In 10th place, we've got Nils in the Lamborghini. As you can see, it's coming around the top of the screen. Wait for him to pass us by. Still on the outlap, parade lap, with a matte finish. Nice matte finish on that. Make it look evil. In 11th place, we've got Martin Bailey, who's in the Bailey's Ferrari, the red one behind Nils. We've got Azar, who's also in a Ferrari, in a red Ferrari. And then at the back, we've got Bias, who's in the McLaren. Know your runners and riders. So we'll see what happens in T1. T1 typically causes chaos. Not saying always. Tend to find there's more incidents coming out of T1 than going in, as people put the power down and the tyres aren't warm. But anyway, we'll see where this takes us, and what we'll do is we'll go on board with Marcel. Helicam. So this allows me to view more of the track and more of the cars. It's great for seeing the passes, but during the race I'll try and concentrate on the TV cams, which are quite close to the cars, and do the animations going past. I can also do chase cams as well, bonnet cam from the rear wing. The rear wing one's really good actually, when you've got a close battle, because you get to see the car closing up from the rear wing of the car in front, so that's really good. We're just coming around 130R now, settling themselves down for the Casio triangle. Ready to go on to the start-finish straight. And the race will start, and we'll have an hour. Cars coming through there, getting them ourselves all sorted. Nice view there of most of the cars in shot. Flames coming out of McLaren, looking good. Go to the front where the action's going to kick off, I'm sure, as everyone puts the power down. Well, you can see them touching the brakes, going, touching the brakes, going. They're really waiting for the green light. Green light usually comes on at the line going up to. There you go. Like that, I think it usually comes on. It's this one. Here we go. We've gone green, and we're off. So as expected, Marcel manages to make a good start and get himself through to the first position. Go down and just see if anyone's making contact. So far so good. Everyone's got round. No one's spun out, which is also very good. Oh, we had the Ferrari collide with the McLaren, and he's letting him back on, but luckily he's not hit a barrier. But that was towards the back, and I think that was Jörg, and was contacted by Martin. Looks like Martin just missed his braking zone there and just caught him possibly with the cold tyres, but back up and running, and everyone's happy. So the battles will be quite quick early on because everyone's getting up to speed, they're getting the tyres warm, and they're still trying to work out the performance, but it's also an opportunity to get your track limits as well, and if there's any track warnings, to gain your track warnings because your tyres are cold. So the middle of the field is where the action is at the moment, as you can appreciate. I'm currently on board with Roland in the McLaren, and Thomas, who's in the Ferrari behind, is being hunted down by Helmut. So that's what we're expecting at this moment in time. Bit of a battle throughout the field, and then we'll see what we can do in relation to keeping up with everybody. It is pretty much close. You can see the cars, but no one looks like they're ready to pass yet. I think as we get 2 or 3 laps in, we'll start seeing the battles come together as the tyres come up to temperature and as the setups start to work. You can see there that the McLaren of Nils is also getting very, very racy with Helmut. Just go to Helmut there so we can concentrate on that battle a little bit. You can see there the McLaren holding up with the Ferrari, sticking to the back of the Ferrari. Be interesting to see if we get a pass coming up here. He's a little bit too far away, but if he gets a good run, by the time we come to the end of the straight, he could be in a good position. No, he didn't make it as half expected there, and again it's looking a bit close towards the back, but nobody's really made a pass at the back as well. But that battle between Jörg is now starting to hot up a little bit, with Martin behind. So we'll sit and watch this one for a little bit, see if anything comes from this. 2 McLarens and a Ferrari, and a Ferrari in front, so this is a bit of a McLaren sandwich. Double helping. They're still pulling a little bit, aren't they? I expect the lap times to start plummeting now. The first lap was a 2:03, half expected with the tyres being quite cold. I'd expect this next lap to be a 2:01, so we'll see what Marcel does. But this is there's a few little battles going on here. We've got a Helmut now challenging Thomas. Getting very, very close now. So this is Ferrari v Ferrari. So this is down to set up an aero. What aero package they're running? Are they running low wing? Give them performance, which means they'll suffer in the corners. But it also means on the straights they'll be very, very quick. Still not enough to pass there. And again, you can see also at the back. Getting close at the back as well. You'll see that in the rear of the action. For some reason my fastest lap isn't working, but there you go. I'll work out why the fastest lap's not working at some point, but currently down to 2 minutes flat. We just said we've got a bit. It's gone a bit wide there as Thomas. The McLaren now starting to close in a little bit. So if we go to the rear wing of Thomas's, we get a nice view of the field behind him. And you can also see the McLaren is closing up on the Ferrari there as well. I think this battle, this is the battle for 6th place. Michael's also quite close with Marco as well. I will switch to that one if need be. And the field's already started to split out a little bit. And that one's just starting to break away a little bit there, isn't it? Let's go to Michael. Yeah, that should have gone to Michael then, it didn't. There it is, it's gone to Michael. We've got these 3 cars now battling out as well. With Marco at the front of the running. Benjamin has pulled away a little bit, so as I said, that Mustang is pretty quick around here. And certainly with the setup Benjamin's got, and he's pulled a good couple of seconds out there as well. So that's going to help him a little bit, and there's a bit of a gap between 5th and 6th as well, which is Roland and Thomas. It looks here the McLaren's going to get a good run against Michael. So that's Roland on Michael. So we shall see what happens here. Whether that's going to happen. Marcel's down to the 159s. But no pass is taking place. Have we seen anything at the back? No pass taking place at the back either. So everyone's staying in situ. Go back to the battle. We've got that's going on here. So again, we've got the Ferrari of Helmut chasing down the Ferrari of Thomas. Michael's still under pressure from Roland. That's within half a second. And Jörg is also under pressure from Martin Bailey as well. As you can see there. So there's quite a lot of individual battles going on. Obviously at the beginning there was a bit of a collision with Martin and Jörg. But Martin, as he did let Jörg through, or didn't pass him because I think it was the cause. But now obviously they're not running at speed and they're chasing each other down. One in the McLaren, one in the Ferrari. Back to the Michael battle. Here we go. And I know we've still got Helmut chasing down Thomas as well. So there's a couple of different battles going on. So it's hard to focus on multiple battles at the moment and pick which one makes sense. But hopefully we'll get to grips with it. This is looking like yeah, they're just starting to get to grips with the Ferrari tyres now. Just making a bit of a gap. But Helmut is still putting pressure on Thomas. You can see there the three cars. The McLaren of Nils as well is putting pressure on Helmut. And then we've still got Jörg and Martin behind, keeping that battle close as well. Fact, Jörg has made the pass. Let's have a quick look at that pass. No, it's not for some reason, even though that's the replay, it's not showing me the replay. Oh no, Martin didn't get past it. It come up on my screen that Martin had passed, but it hasn't. Well, that's my mistake, my apologies. I think I just seen something flicker and thought, oh, there's been a pass. Actually, something has happened. I'm a bit confused here. Seeing Marco has gone. Marco's left the server. I'm trying to work out what was going on there, and I couldn't really see what was going on. Has Marco had a problem? I'm not seeing him in the timing table anymore. And in fact, you'll see my name appearing now on the list. I really don't know what's happened to Marco there. No idea. He must have had a connection issue because he was running pretty well. So that's put Michael now into third place. And he's no longer under pressure. Got a battle going on here. Martin trying to get past Jörg here. He's not giving up. Thomas and Helmut are still battling away midfield as well, mid-pack. Still a lot to play for, really. And it looks like Roland has gained on Michael a little bit. Not enough to pass. And this is where the battle's going to be between these two here. Going to make the pass. Has he got the grunt? He's going to sweep down the inside. He's not got the grunt. Oh, could have been contact there. Luckily, they both saw it coming. And we now have a pass there, which was a Helmut on Thomas. So we've now got the same problem with Nils. Nils will be hunting Thomas down now. Very close at the back. This battle is still going on. The Jörg's past Matthias, sorry. It's Martin on Matthias. Thomas is still putting pressure, is still having pressure put on him from Nils. So we'll keep an eye on that, and if there is a pass, I'll go back and do a replay on that pass. As of yet, that hasn't happened. Martin's still trying to get to grips with the McLaren here and get a run into the hairpin. That gap between Nils and Thomas has just expanded a little bit now. This is the closest battle on track. As you can see there, the McLaren switch coming out the hairpin. But Martin was not able to capitalise into 200R as they come up to Spoon curve. Nils is still trying to get to grips with Thomas here. He's not managed to do it. And these two are together. Are they going to make it? And Martin passes. So that pass has now been done. So let's go back to the battle between Thomas and Nils. I do think at some point we are going to see another pass going on here. That McLaren just seems much quicker coming out the corners than the Ferrari. Quite a gap here, but at the end of the straight you'll see the McLaren just seems to catch up a little bit. It's not enough to make a pass. There's no one running close at the moment. The closest is Martin pulling away from Matthias. And in fact that gap's now almost over a second. So he's continuing to pull forward from there. This again is the second closest battle, although Roland is still keeping the pressure on Michael. Within half a second. But he's not making much inroad into the actual pass at this point. Do with a really good run out here. Let's go to the rear wing of Michael. See if he does actually gain at any point. Will give us a good indicator. He's got a good run there, the Ferrari. Definitely pulling away on the straight. McLaren's not even getting into a tow there. Both going around 130R very fast. And at the braking, you can just see how good the McLaren is at the braking. You've then got to get the power out of the corner. I'm going to go back to Thomas because, again, there's a battle going on between Thomas. You can see there, in fact, that Roland's flashing Michael. So Roland was flashing Michael as if to say, I'm coming for you. Marco was rejoined. We're sat in the pit, so he must have had a connection issue. Bit of a shame. I don't know if he's going to exit and rejoin the race. There's a lot of the race left, really. And he's obviously done some laps, which will benefit him. This battle now started to heating up a little bit. We've got the Lamborghini now chasing down the McLaren. We've got the McLaren chasing down the Ferrari. So we've got a three-way split going on. Leaking late there, that Red Bull. I think it says Red Bull on the front, McLaren. Good artwork on that Ferrari. You can just see some sort of animal in the rear wing there. Looks like an open mouth for teeth. So some good liveries. The Lamborghini just going a bit wide, but the McLaren getting a good exit here. Is it going to be enough, or has the Ferrari still got the run? He's definitely close here. This is the closest battle because Michael just seems to put a little bit of breathing space between him and Roland now. The pressure's off Michael a little bit. Obviously, he doesn't want to make a mistake, but he's out of the tow. He takes one mistake and you're back in it. Now on board with Mills. Really getting into the corners and braking well, isn't he, in that McLaren. That Ferrari's going a bit, looks a bit loose there, as if the tyres have gone, or it's a very loose setup because it seems to be moving as if the driver's sliding it. Yeah, he's putting the brakes on, he's gone for that corner a bit too quick. He lost the apex. He did get the power down before on the McLaren there as well, so that allowed him to pull away a little bit. We've got another battle going on at the back. I'm going to switch to that because it's a bit close. That's you over Martin. There's also got Matthias is still involved in this battle. We've got a couple of cars still battling it out here for what will be 10th position. Yeah, they're all very, very similarly spaced out there. There's a couple of little battles going on. We've got this one where the gap's about half a second, and we've got this one where the cars are running really, really close together within half a second, and under braking. They keep getting, now interestingly, it looks like they're catching Helmet here. So Helmet, who's in the red Ferrari, is just going round the corner. They do look like they're catching up to Helmet. So that's going to get interesting as they all start concertinaing up to the back of Helmet. And again, we don't know when the pits are going to happen. So with 41 minutes to go, I'd expect pits to take place after a further 20 minutes. But unless they do a 50-50, which means 10 minutes. Yeah, so you can see the battles still between them three, but they are closing in. And now the Lamborghini's joined the party as well. The Lamborghini's very close, closer than I think it has been. They're all running very, very similar speeds, aren't they, really? You can see the way they come out the corners, the way the cars move. The cars are bouncing around very, very similar. And consequently, it means that no one's making any inroads. Now, I'm going to jump to the front because we've got a close race going on at the front again. So I did mention this before. Michael had got away a little bit. But now, as you can see from there, that Roland has really... brought up a little bit, so Roland is now on the tails of Michael. Marco has come out of the pits, so Marco is running. Now, I wonder if that means he could have fueled and he's done his pit stop. He did lose about 2 or 3 laps, to be fair, so I don't think he's going to be claiming first place. But we are running all 14 drives again. A bit wide there, the McLaren. You can just see he carried a lot of speed but couldn't get the car to rotate into the corner. He's really pushing, you can tell how much of the track he's using. He's taking the apexes nicely there. Now he takes these next two. He's taking a late apex there, giving him a bit of power. Also he's got good steering on now as well. And Michael had a bit of a slide there. You could hear the car not wanting to grip, and it just caused him to slide, so that means that the McLaren will gain a little bit. And then we're back. I'm going to jump back to Thomas because this battle's going on still. I'll say we've got two close battles on track at the moment. Battle with Thomas, Nils and Nils. And Helmet leading at the front, and they'll give Helmet a bit of a breather, to be honest, now. So from that perspective, it does mean that Helmet can try and concentrate on his race as opposed to looking in his mirror. Lamborghini's just dropped back a little bit there as well. I noticed he must have got a bad drive out of the hairpin. Lauren's got a good exit there. That's a very good exit. Is he going to make a pass? Thinking about it. No, he's not going to make it. He was definitely thinking about that pass then. You need a very compliant driver who's going to allow you to make that move there. Otherwise you're going to end up doing a Lando and a Max. Michael's still fighting with Roland. I think Marco is about to pass a back marker. He has done. That's the back marker. So he's getting himself going again now, back on track. On board the Mills. As he chases down Thomas still very close here. But no movement. There's no passes going on. Looks like Jurg's got close to Martin Bailey. I'll switch to that in a minute. And obviously, two battles, it's difficult to pick, so I will switch to the other battle if that appears to be getting closer. Battle to Martin gaining on. I think it's look. What to? Oh, Ferrari slid there. Oh yeah, it's Jurg on Martin, as expected. Right, that Ferrari of Thomas before, we saw it going sideways. Let's jump back to that. This one's not as close as we thought. You can see Thomas's tyres must be going off because he's struggling now. That McLaren's definitely over the back of it. Lamborghini's just falling away a little bit. Ferrari's still got a very good exit out of that corner though. Looks like he got his braking point wrong there, the Ferrari. Is he going to give the McLaren a chance up the inside? No, he's not. See how they both take the corner differently. Almost there, taking the apex well. Again, keeping as close to the apex as possible there, but equally Nils has done exactly the same. They'll both put the power down up to the deckers. The exception of Marco, who pitted due to reconnection. No one's pitted as of yet. See the Lambo behind is just falling back ever so slightly more and more. Again, that could be a tyre thing. 34 minutes to go. So if you burnt your tyres out a little bit, you will start struggling. Certainly on this track does destroy your tyres. I'd say at this point the McLaren, very similar to the Formula 1 car actually, is looking after its tyres well. It's not slipping as much. The Ferrari is starting to slide a little bit more as it puts the power on coming out of corners. The gap between Jürgen and Martin is exactly the same as this gap. There's not much in that battle either. And we have our first pitter, which is Roland. Very late on the brakes there, so Roland's gone into the pits. He's the first one to elect for pit stop. Oh, bit of a... Oh, and you can see they're both battling with the car there. And she's let the Lamborghini right back in it. Circle 2. A little bit sideways there, just as the Ferrari did. See the Ferrari struggle there then. It looked like it wasn't compliant with the turn, then all of a sudden responded. If I was Nils here, because of his speed difference, I'd be tempted to pit and do an early pit stop and see if I can put a couple of fast laps in, which means by the time Thomas pits, he might get the jump on Thomas. Saying that's what's going to happen, but it's certainly an option. I'm going to jump back. Right, I was just going to jump back to Jürgen, but he's not. He's close, but he keeps dropping back a little bit. Obviously, I'm seeing the times change dynamically, so I get to see them dropping every second. The gap's very similar to this one. This is by far the closest battle. Talking 2/10 here. And he's gone defensive here as Thomas. You can tell away he's gone left. He's not leaving the door open at all. Michael's pitting now as well. Nils didn't pit. Just thought it would have been a bit of an opportunity to pit and get it out of the way while you had the speed. Again, the Lamborghini's flying down the inside there. I'm going to put brakes on heavy though, which is costing time. Helmet's disappeared in front, as you can see. He's at the head of the snake now, where these guys are at the tail of the snake. So Jürgen's also pitted. So was Martin. So they're all started to, Matthias has pitted, they're all started to run into the pits now and get the pit stop bang on 30 minutes. That Ferrari's really struggling. Roland was in the pits for 1 minute 15. Let's see how quick these guys are coming out of the pits. So Michael's in longer. Roland's done a really quick pit stop so far, looking at them times. Michael was 4 seconds down. There we go. So these are changing tyres. They're doing a tyre change. And I think that makes sense when you see the cars slipping and sliding around. Again, a bit sideways there. Lamborghini's also slide sideways a little bit. But let's see the lap times of so Matthias is moving out the pits now, he's moving. So he got to, he's done a 1:18 and Benjamin's now pitting. Oh, what's happened there? That Lamborghini's gone very, very wide. The fastest pit stop, both pitting, is Roland. Nils is also pitting, as we know, and as so is Thomas. And yeah, everyone's pitting. Hazard's not pitting at the moment, he's staying out. Marius is staying out, as is Helmut. Marcel is way up front, so he's probably no reason to pit at this moment in time. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to the heli camp. We just get to see the cars ready to move, if they're going to move. Step it back a little bit to Thomas, because Thomas was in the pits first. So there's Benjamin going. So Benjamin, pit stop was 1:14. A very quick pit stop that compared to the others. Jörg was a 1:42. Now that tells me Jörg's done tyres. Or he had damage. Now I know he had a contact with Martin, but I wasn't too sure whether that was damage. So Thomas has got out in front of Nils. Nils, I think, is also moving. If he's not at this point, yeah. Now, this is interesting. Nils in the McLaren is coming out last. There's Marcel coming into the pits now. There's been a change. Thomas has kept his lead, but Nils in the Lamborghini has jumped Nils in the McLaren. And that's upset the apple cart because there's no battles going on anymore. Still got 3 drivers to pit. Still got Helmut, Azar and Marius. And there's Helmut pitting as we speak. So Helmut's going into the pits. And so is Azar. And I had to guess, I would reckon that Marius, depending on where Marius is probably going to pit as well. See? He's coming round boom curve. Would expect Marius to pit this lap. Marco's also pitted, so he has to pit to fulfill the requirements. It's 130R is Marius. Now we're going to see him go into the pit. Yeah, he's pitting now as well. That's all drivers will have fulfilled their pit stop now. Fastest pit stop looks like it was Benjamin with a 1:14. The slowest being Jörg with a 1:42. Okay, let's go back on track now, because I think we're going to start seeing some battles materialise. So we've got the Lamborghini. Oh, there's been an off there. Now, who was that who went off? That looked like Helmut. I'm not sure who it was. It was one of them 2 Ferraris that went off. Oh no, it was red. I don't know which one it was. One of them. Now looking at the position, I think it was Helmut, because Azar is right with him now. And he pitted much later, so I think Helmut's made a mistake somewhere. In fact, if you look at where they are, Helmut is actually behind Thomas, Nils and Nils. So Helmut definitely went off and had a bit of a problem. The Helmut's now going to have to hunt. Sorry, Azar's going to try and hunt Helmut down. Azar is the car behind. Helmut is the 49, Azar is the 80. I think if Helmut gets his tyres up and running, I think he will start to pull away. At this moment in time, he's being held at bay. Nils is quite close to Thomas. I think all the pit stops have now been ran. Helmet is just starting to pull away there. Thomas is staying a second ahead of Nils. He really needs to keep that gap. Otherwise he's going to have a Lamborghini coming down on him. Yeah, he's within second. Going off track a little bit there, Helmet. That won't help matters. Again, just lose a little bit of traction. Corner right this time. He's going round okay, so there's going to be no problem there. I'm going to increase the gain volume ever so slightly, just to see if I can work out what that sound levels. I have no idea on the sound level of the game itself, but it's quite quiet for me. Obviously, I can't really hear the game because I don't want it to interrupt the microphone. It's quite a good battle here, but you can see a Helmet is just starting to pull away. Where else could we go? So the other closest battle on track between Thomas and Nils. So we'll switch to Thomas and Nils. You'll see Nils coming round in the Lamborghini, but he's not really looking to pass at the moment. Long way to go there. I have 22 minutes left. They're the three cars from before, aren't they? Thomas, Nils and Nils. Nils has caught up a little bit actually. Really riding the curbs in that Ferrari. You can see how soft the suspension is though. How much the tyres are moving then. There's the big beast of the Lamborghini. Now it does look like there that the gap between Nils in the McLaren and Nils in the Lamborghini is closing up a little bit. So I think it's within a second. Yep. Whereas this gap at the front is getting bigger. I think we're going to see a bit of a battle going on here between the McLaren and the Lamborghini. Go on board. Now he's taking the car in and out the corners. Also see, so you can see Thomas being in front of them. I do think this McLaren does look the quicker car. It does look quicker than Lamborghini, but I just don't know what's going to happen really. The volume in car will be a lot louder. So, hopefully you can still hear the voice and turn it up ever so slightly. I'll shorten the route there by staying left. Just swing it round. Give a slight lift, drop down a gear. Help the car rotate into that fast corner. Very, very late braking into the Lamborghini. Rolling up behind it. Yeah, you see Thomas in front is definitely pulling away. In fact, he's gained a second gap on that lap alone. This is the closest battle on track we are on with at the moment. All the drivers are pitted, so we don't need to worry about pit stops anymore. He is gained ever so slightly, but he's not making massive inroads really. We have closed the gap down to Thomas by half a second now, so I think they've both got a bit of a G on now to try and to gain on Thomas. As he was 3 seconds, it's now down to 2. See, McLaren is definitely gaining. I'm looking at the times when Kommentar is keeping it with Helmet as well. Although Helmet is also catching up on Nils. I think we've got a few cars coming up here at some point. Very quick out of that corner. The Lamborghini put its power down well. The gap now is within half a second. That's the closest the McLaren's been. So are we going to see a pass at some point? McLaren getting a bit sideways there. 17 minutes to go. Tyres should be okay if we all change tyres. Sticking with it now. Stay 3/10 behind now. Really putting pressure on the Lamborghini. Pushing. That Lamborghini's pushing. You can tell it's too wide there on 2 corners. Exit there though. And now got another battle behind. Let's go to that one. So we've seen a pass there, have we? There's Helmet on Azar. Helmet's gone back in front, so he must have lost his gap there. So go back to Nils quickly. Let's see if we're going to see a pass between these two. Lamborghini's still got the power down. The only way I can see this McLaren getting past is if the mistake's made by the Lamborghini and it can capitalise on the power out the corner. Both very, very similarly matched. I mean, the lap time is a 1/10. They're not even 1/10. The 6/100ths of a second between them in the last lap. It was extremely close. Fastest person on track at the moment is Marcel. He's doing 2-minute flat, followed by Bedouin. And then Marco with a 2:01 flat. State there. You can see the McLaren just lost a bit of drive coming out the corner. Obviously had to over-brake a little bit. This is where the McLaren appears strong because he seems to go in late but still come out quite well. At 200R. It's going to jump back a little bit to another battle that's going on. Just letting me see what's going on. I think this is Martin chasing down Matthias. Oh, Matthias with the slide. Oh, Martin's passed him as a result of that slide. And Martin will now claim a position. We see Martin disappear now into the sunset. Now there's a few battles starting to break out. Let's go to this one here. This is between Roland and Michael. Michael's really caught up on Roland here. Now, as far as I'm aware, I've not seen a pass. No, I haven't seen a pass, so they may have done that in the pits. But there's been no pass recorded against these two drivers. As I said, I could have missed it. Let's go on board with Michael from the cockpit. Rolling there, a touch wide. Is still putting pressure on Thomas, I think it is. No, it's Nils on Nils, my apologies. McLaren's fly out of that corner. Both McLaren seem to come out of their spoon curve really, really quick. Make it really difficult for the car chasing to get a run. Okay, let's have a quick rundown of the grid and see where people are on track. Let's each driver have a bit of a mention. We'll start with Marcel. Marcel, who's in McLaren, is currently leading. He's leading by a significant amount of time, as in 10-11 seconds. In second place, in the Ford Mustang, we have Benjamin. Got some really good performance out of that Mustang, I must say. Really putting pressure on the drivers behind to keep up with him. Third place, in a McLaren, we have Roland. As we know, he's being hunted down by Michael. Bit of a flash there with Michael. That gap between him and Thomas. Significant gap of nearly 20 seconds between him and Thomas. So from that perspective, I don't think that these two guys are under threat of anyone stealing their positions. We've then got Thomas in the Ferrari. This is the nicely coloured livery one, or that's what I think of it anyway. Just seen it just go out of display there then. Blue one. Blue struck green. And the Lamborghini has made it past the McLaren. I didn't see that happen. My apologies for that. All I can think of there, that the Lamborghini... or the McLaren, should I say, made a mistake and let the Lamborghini through. Or has it always been like that? You know, I'm getting confused and really lost. No, it was the McLaren was behind the Lamborghini, wasn't it? It was the other way around before the pit stops. I'm getting confused. The old cogs aren't working. We've got Nils in the McLaren. Orange McLaren, as you can see there. Going down behind the Lamborghini. And we have Helmut, another Ferrari car. So we've only got really four cars on track. So Helmut's a couple of seconds clear of Azar behind. You did see that pass before. And Azar is also in a Ferrari. Currently in 9th place. And behind that we have another Ferrari. That's the Ferrari of Martin. As you can see there as well, he's pulled away from Matthias as well. Saw that pass before. In 11th place, we have McLaren and Matthias. And he's pretty safe from behind as well. In 12th place, we have the McLaren of Jörg. In 13th place, we have the Ferrari of Marius. And then finally, running 4 laps down due to a disconnect, we have Marco in a Ferrari as well. That is the racers currently on track. So Marco had a disconnect. He had to rejoin. So I don't know if it was a disconnect due to a computer crash. It did put him 4 laps out, but he's joined back up and he is still going. So credit to him for that. So let's see where the action is. There's not much action on track. The only real action we've got is still between Roland and Michael. We're not really seeing much of a gain there. Again, the McLaren just seems matched with the Ferrari. Every battle we've seen between these two cars, they just seem matched. Nils is still battling with Thomas behind. But that gap staying about a second. I am going to switch to that though because it's starting to get a bit heated. I think it's fair to say. This is the battle behind these two cars. So the Lamborghini is now catching Thomas. Now this could be tyre degradation, where the tyres are starting to drop off and the Ferrari's suffering more than the Lamborghini. And the Lamborghini's just keeping more grip. You can see the Ferrari struggled into that corner and under braking. And that's why the gap has been reduced. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next 3 laps, because I think there's only going to be 3 laps left. I think the Ferrari's struggling here. I think we may actually see a position change. Gap is coming down. Lamborghini's flexing its muscles. Been waiting and waiting and waiting. Waiting to pounce. Waiting for a mistake. Thomas there getting sideways coming out of the Degner. You can see the back end nearly come round. That would have been the end. Because it had gone into the barrier on the opposite side. Lamborghini there taking a wide exit so he can get the power down early. And the McLaren's joining in now as well. He's really going to be looking in his mirrors in a minute. Just needs to keep it on track rather than letting the car spin and rotate out. He's got a good exit there. Looks like the McLaren had a good exit as well, to be honest. He's not going to get caught here, but it's under braking into the Casio triangle where the car seemed to gain on the Ferrari. That McLaren's caught up on the Lamborghini as well, so there's another battle going on there. That's also close. I'll just move back a car so we can see and keep an eye on that battle as well. two laps to go. I think it's fair to say. This in the next. All does depend on where Marcel is, but I think we're still going to only have 2 laps to go maximum. There's not going to be much more than 2 laps. There can't be. Time wouldn't permit it. For all this racing, nearly an hour, these cars are still within a second. And they're still going for it. Fantastic. Great battles. Very clean racing as well. The exception of the tap at the beginning. Oh, is it going up the inside? No, he's not. With the exception of the tap at the beginning of the race. I have not really seen much other contact. Yes, there was a bit of door banging. But other than that, actually it's been a very, very clean race. And there has been passes. It's getting tasty, isn't it? This is getting very tasty. Oh, I thought he was going for it then. Thing is, that's cost him time, that, for having to back off. He probably would have been better tucked in under the back end. He's got another good run here. But no, nothing's happening. The Lamborghini's caught back up to the Ferrari again now. Equally, the gap between the Lamborghini and the McLaren is very, very similar. So what we don't want is something to happen and them all come together. McLaren's looking the quickest. Lamborghini was looking good, but it just seems to have just dropped off a little bit. And the Ferrari looks like its tyres are gone, but it looks like they've come back again. And I'm just going to jump forward. Something interesting's happening at the front. Got another battle. Last lap battle. Michael and Roland. Going for it. Michael's really closed up on the back of that McLaren now. 3/10 away. He's not going to get the drive there. He was looking at it, but he's just tucked in behind. Because if he gets a good run onto the next straight, he may well just get him into the corner. He's not going to make it, is he? He's trying to push his nose out a little bit. Getting interesting behind as well. Still nothing. Okay, let's jump on board with the leader. See a pass now, unfortunately. That's just the nature of the beast. Gotta give Marcel the ability to cross the line first and show it. He's done an exemplary race. He's finished significant amount of seconds ahead of Benjamin. Nearly 20 seconds. That's no mean feat, to be fair. Mills and Thomas are still going for it. Mills is very close, 1/10. He's just dropping back a little bit now. Right up his bumper. Right up his bumper. Yeah, the neck and neck. He's not going to pass him. There we see Marcel pass. Gap has increased a little bit now. Sole winner. Here's Benjamin. Got Roland. And Michael very close behind him. Here we go. The podium. Marcel, Benjamin and Roland. Thomas. Managing to keep in situ. Great race battle between them guys. And then we've got Helmut. Going down the straight. Zar. You can see behind Marco there. Martin Bailey. Go around the final corner. Then we've got Matthias. Claren. And Jörg close behind him. And Marco has finished. And that was the race. For those who did watch, thanks very much. Please remember just to put a like. And if you haven't already, subscribe if you would like to. I will be streaming the races when I can. I will put the share in Discord. And obviously let the guys at Sim Racing Nord share that information. But for the time being, thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed the race. And see you in the next one. Bye-bye now.